Welcome to our yoga class. I'm so glad we could be here together today. In our warm up, we already got some facial muscles warmed up with our laughing and our chatting. So now we're going to get our minds and our bodies a little warmed up. I thought today we would start with a little self Reiki. For those of you who are familiar with Reiki, it is an ancient Japanese practice, and it is energy healing. And I practice self Reiki every day. It's called, you can do Reiki throughout your whole body. You can just do what we call is the triple diamond. And we're going to do that today. And it's quite a powerful practice. It's a way for us to just kind of tune into our energy, really invite a sense of opening, a sense of release. And you can almost feel that energy kind of emanating from the hands at points. I know Jane was in a Reiki session with me not too long ago, and it can be um, a powerful practice to heal from the inside out. So I'd like you today to find a comfortable position. Whether you want to be in a chair, you can do this lying down as well. So whatever feels great for you. And we're going to begin by grounding ourselves. So if you are lying down, I want you to imagine the roots of the back of your body are going to really kind of stretch down into the earth. If you're seated, I'd like you to maybe take a moment to kind of shift the flesh off to the side so you can really connect into the sits bones area. Try to roll the shoulder blades back, lift up through the spine, grow a little taller. And we're going to begin with our grounding cord visualization. So just take a moment here just to close the eyes. Just take a moment to kind of tune inward, check in with yourself. How are you feeling today? What are you bringing with you in your backpack to your mat today? I want you to imagine that your mat is like an island. And this mat is a safe space. This mat represents a time to connect inward, a time to be and not to do. A time for self-care, self-reflection, self-compassion, and self-love. A time for us to drip our muscles down towards the earth, to soften the hips, to soften the heart, to soften your eyes. Notice if your elbows, your wrists, your fingers are holding on to anything that really you can let go of. And recognition that there is nothing outside of you that you need. Everything you need rests within yourself. I want you to imagine at the base of your sits bones, at the base of your tailbone, there is a lovely light that shines all the way up to the center of your body. And this light is like a guide for our grounding cord. Imagine the grounding cord is coming down from the heavens or from the sky, all the way down the spine, penetrating the light, penetrating the different layers of the earth. And as it breaks through all those layers, it finds its center, its core, the most solid, the strongest, area of space that the cord can wrap around as many times as you need today. If you feel like you're floating and that there's this lack of grounding, I want you to take that cord and wrap it even 3 or 4,000 million times. And I want you to imagine that cord is so tightly wound that it's grounding you physically down to the earth. Reminding yourself that this is where we begin with our foundation. Maybe you even take a moment to notice the physical pull of the earth, the gravity pulling you down, creating an imprint of your body into the mat. Maybe you release your body a little bit more of anything that's not serving you, or this desire to hold on. Take that space and just let yourself be here. Heavy, grounded, but with a light heart and a light spirit. As that cord continues to wrap down, it will make its last journey around the center of the earth, and it will start to work its way all the way back up through those layers, acting as additional grounding, as additional strengthening, and working its way back through the light, up through your spine and past the crown, past the 7th chakra. As you begin in this space with this grounded sensation physically of your body into the earth, let us repeat to ourselves that I only ground in a space of pure love and self-compassion. Anything that enters this space that does not come with pure love and compassion is not welcome. May only the highest and best come to us in this space. Let us take our hands and raise them and cup our eyes gently. As you hold that space, maybe you notice a sensation of the tips of your fingers resting on the forehead, the eyes being closed off by the cupping of the hands. Remaining grounded, just allow yourself this moment to just tune into your own energy. Soften the eyes. Breathe in. From here, let's bring our hands down to our heart space, stacking one hand on top of the other, softening the elbows and the shoulders. And just envisioning this sense of pure love entering the body, pure compassion, pure care. Maybe you notice the rise and fall of the breath entering and leaving the body. Maybe you repeat to yourself, only the highest and best is welcome. Recognize that inner trust, that inner knowing. Let us take us down to our hara space with the hands resting slightly above the navel. Coming into that solar plexus area that represents confidence, that intuitive sense, that inner knowing. Feel that space even smiling back at you. Let us take our hands back to our heart space. Stacking the hands. Maybe you notice some heat building underneath the palms. Soften your body and repeat to yourself, only the highest and best is welcome. Let's take our hands and cup the eyes one last time. And then as you're ready, slowly allow the hands to drift to the thighs and let us just sit in a moment of silence. Notice how you feel. Notice the sensation in the hands and in the body. Whenever you're ready, let us bring our hands to heart center, just as a gesture of recognition of the divine that lives within us all. And the divine can be your God, it could be a spiritual figure, it can be anything you deem as divine for you. As your hands press together, reminding us that we are all one. We'll slowly release the hands down and begin to flutter the eyes open. And just inviting the room back into our vision. If you're laying down on the floor, maybe you'll slowly and carefully come up into a seated position. Perhaps finding ourselves seated, perhaps propped up on a bolster. If you're seated in a chair, that's absolutely fine. You can remain there. And we're just going to begin with some gentle ear to shoulder stretches. So begin just by teetering the head gently from one side to the next, keeping the chin parallel to the floor. I encourage you, if you're dealing with any sort of low back issues today, if you are seated directly onto the floor, make sure you're propped up nice and comfortably on a bolster or some pillows. And as you teeter your head over, gently just inviting a little release into the side of the shoulders. So just noticing that muscle that runs, that upper trap that runs kind of behind the ear all the way down to the tip of the shoulder. And just coming to it with that beautiful exhale, breathing in and then breathing out. Inviting that length, that release, that openness. Beautiful. The next time you find your left ear towards your left shoulder, let's just hang out here for a minute. Maybe you breathe into the right side of the shoulder and just allow that space to release down. If you feel like your body's calling for a little more, you can even extend that right arm out as an add-on. But remember, this is totally up to you. Try to breathe into the space, releasing any tension that might be running its course from the back of the ear, the side of the neck, down into the shoulder. Maybe if your arm is extended, take the arm and bring it back to the thigh, and then slowly bring the head back into center, and then release the right shoulder towards the right ear, or the ear to the shoulder, and just begin here. Still remaining tall through the spine, but not rigid. There's still some mobility there. Maybe you take that left arm out. Again, this is totally optional. And release it to the side. Just melting the muscle down, the shoulder down. And I love to think about lengthening versus stretching. For me, in my vision, that there's a difference between the two. Stretching, we kind of are in this place where we're trying to force the muscle into this. This is kind of my vision of it. It's not really that, but it's the way I kind of see the differences. But I always think of stretching as something I'm just really kind of forceful with. But when I think of lengthening, I kind of have this vision of just this beautiful, long opportunity to release the muscle. Can see kind of this vision in my head of this, the muscle kind of really finding its space. Slowly bring the left hand back to center and then pull the neck back in towards center. Staying tall through the spine, drop the chin towards the chest, lengthen the back of the neck, soften the throat. Stay tall through the spine here. Gently just allowing the chin to rest towards your heart. Notice if any other parts of the body are just naturally wanting to tense up here, can you try to let that go? From here, let's draw a gentle smile from shoulder to shoulder with a gentle rotation. Beautiful. And then as you're ready, the next time you find your chin coming towards your heart, let's go ahead and lift the gaze and find ourselves looking forward. From here, let's reach the arms and let's go ahead and take that left wrist and just gently lean over to the right. Notice if you initially just come to it with that, you can even switch your front feet, by the way, just that desire to kind of tilt over to the right, but can you stay tall and just gently guide that right shoulder towards the right, giving the lats a little stretch, the shoulders a little stretch. And then inhale, make your way back through center, gently guide that right wrist over to the left, and it's just a gentle guide. Like taking a little puppy out for a walk, just guiding them outside gently on the leash, not pulling them, just easing into it. From here, gently come back through center, release the arms to the hips. Take the elbows, shoulders roll back, and take the elbows open up the chest. Keeping your pelvis fairly neutral here. So we're not trying to arch through the low back to puff through the heart. We're trying to roll and lift, finding this gentle extension, opening of the shoulders, opening of the chest. And then slowly make your way back in towards center. Rest the hands back to the knees. And we're just going to, elbows are going to come wide. And we're going to drop the shoulders in and then out. And just kind of rolling the shoulder forward. Again, not forcing, just kind of working with the breath here like you would gently knead. You know what I'm going to say, right? Some bread dough. So gently just coming in and then back through center and breathing into it, finding that momentum with your breath, finding that release in the back and in the shoulders. Let's do one more on either side. And then slowly make your way back up to standing or seated. And then let's just move through our Sufi rolls with a gentle leading of the heart and just kind of exploring different areas of the heart, the shoulder. Let the shoulders kind of lean forward and pull back in, like you're stirring this large cauldron here. Mixing it all together, blending it. And there's this beautiful union between the movement and the breath. Can you create that marriage of the two? Tune into that space that you may have come to when you were doing your triple diamond, that internal connection, just that internal flow. Maybe when it feels like the right time, you'll reverse your direction. If with the utmost love and care. Just rotate, stirring the pot in another way with no judgment on how this may feel different than one side, but this pure, untethered exception. Exception in a sense of accepting and loving whatever is. In life, we define everything with good and bad. But in reality, there's nothing that's good and there's nothing that's bad. It's just what it is. That's what yoga teaches us. The next time you come back towards your center, let's just take a moment to resettle ourselves in. Lengthen your spine. Take a deep breath to the belly and a deep exhale out of the mouth. The next time you take a deep breath in, let's open up the heart, find some seated cat-cows. And a deep breath, exhale out round the spine, pull the belly button in towards the back of the room. Explore and be curious. Reminding ourselves that our breath is there to nourish us. Our exhales are there to release waste from the body. So the deeper we exhale, the deeper we inhale. Those inhales and exhales take a journey, and they've chosen us as that journey guide or that guide. So how deep can you take your breath on their journey? Can you take its journey down to the toes? Can you nourish all kinds of parts of the brain and the muscles and the body and the soul? And then can you exhale from the tips of the toes to the crown of the head, all that waste that is not meant to be captured in our body, in our minds, in our soul, in our heart space. The next time you find yourself lifting through the heart, just stay there for just a brief moment to feel that shining bright light emanating from your heart space. Come back to neutral. And then inhale, one last one. We're going to inhale, bring the arms overhead, and exhale, twist towards the left, resting the left hand back and the right hand. Now, as you're twisting, remember to be gentle. You're not here to force anything. Inhale through center, reach up. Exhale, release to the left. You recall our two concepts we talked about last week, Abhyasa and Vairagya. This idea of making things happen versus letting things happen. As you go in today, into whatever you do, whether it's just our yoga practice or something in your life, think of it from that perspective. Are you trying to make something happen and manifest itself, or can you let it happen? Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, release the hands down. And then let's make our way onto our back. As we make our way onto our back, we're going to begin. So grab your strap if you've got it nearby. We're going to begin with some pelvic tilts here, just to kind of loosen up the muscles in the low back. We've been sitting for a little bit, so we're just going to take a moment to kind of reset. With the feet hip distance apart, the hips, knees, and ankles nicely aligned, arms are down to our sides, chest is open, feet are flat. From here, just gently inhale and start to tilt the pelvis so that the hip bones are reaching towards the sun, and we're just gently creating a little arch in the low back. And then exhale, tilt the pelvis inward so that you're tilting it and flattening the low back. And just tilt, utilizing just the muscles of the core, the muscles in the pelvis, letting everything else stay really nice and soft here. Notice how even when we tilt, it affects the upper part of our body. Just a reminder that we're all kind of connected. Everything that happens in one space affects other parts of the body. Fantastic. And let's just repeat a couple more times here. And just being gentle with this motion, especially if we're taking care of our backs today. What we're just inviting in is this subtle movement, this subtle release of the back. The next time you make your way into that arch position, notice the opening of the curve. Notice any tension you might be drawing into the shoulders. And then make your way into that neutral space that's neither lifted nor lowered, but in between, that Goldilocks bed that's just right. From here, cross your left ankle over your right, opening up the left hip. And just for today, stay here with your right foot down towards the ground. And let's just gently shift our knees, rock it side to side. Maybe it's a big rock. Maybe it's just a gentle, subtle movement from side to side, spreading the low back into the floor, opening the hip, and just allowing for a little movement, a little bit more release, a spreading of the back down to the earth, the sacrum, the hips. When you're ready, let's come back towards center. And from here, let's go ahead and release that left foot down to the floor. Reset so that your feet are hip distance apart once again. And this time we're going to go into round the worlds with our pelvis. So spreading or lifting the pelvis so the arch lifts the low back and the tailbone rests down to the floor, shifting to the right and then down towards the top so you're flattening the low back and then shift towards your left. I want you to imagine there's 4 points of contact here. You're creating this rotation through the pelvis, starting from the bottom to the right, to the top, and then to the left. Just imagining that as you're touching each corner, you're inviting an opening of the low back. You're inviting a little bit of gentle movement here. Remember to be kind and to only let the highest and best occur. If it doesn't feel good, maybe you just take a moment and bring your knees into constructive rest pose. As you're ready, perhaps we make our way into the opposite direction, noticing the different 4 points and how their properties, their characteristics are different. They're not the same. Maybe you feel movement in the lumbar area. Can you take a moment to just ease in with the breath, creating this beautiful marriage of movement, spirit, and breath? When you're ready, we'll make our way back into that neutral space. Maybe you windshield wiper the knees gently side to side. And then at your own pace, we'll come back through center. And we'll take the right ankle over the left knee and just open up the hip. And just take a moment here to just let the breath that inner energy draw itself to that right hip. Draw that exhale out as a release from that space out of the body. Maybe there's some tension there. Maybe from here, you start to gently rock your hips side to side. And really with this intention of spreading the back out low to the ground, releasing, a massaging of sorts. And then when you're ready, the next time you make your way back in towards center, unwind your right from your left. And let's pull our left knee in towards our chest, keeping our right knee bent. And just gently pull the left knee in. On the exhale, and like an accordion, breathe out and let the knee pull away from the body. Let the shoulders kind of round forward. And then exhale, pull in, bending the elbows, releasing the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Trying to reduce any sort of need to kind of control this movement. See if you can just ease into it. Kind of find that really lovely fluidity of movement. The next time you find your leg reaching out away from the chest, set your left hand just at the top of the knee here. And we're just going to gently move in a little gentle circular motion here. And here I'm going to keep my right hip down. And I want you to imagine like there's this ball and socket. And you're just kind of rounding over the top of that ball and socket joint area here. Just inviting a little bit of loosening of the tendons, of the ligaments, of the muscles. Stirring the pot again and just kind of getting into all those different crevices, all those different areas of the body that, or the hip that are maybe a little tight. Again, without any sort of judgment to how it feels. It could feel limiting, but it also could feel very loose and open. So whatever it is, just notice it. Maybe you reverse the direction. And maybe one direction just feels better and more accessible than the other. Not good, not bad, just what it is. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, we'll bring our knee back in towards center. And if it's okay for you, you can extend the right leg long, and we'll take that right hand out to the outer edge, pull with our core as we gently guide that left leg over and through center. Now again, please be kind to yourself here. If it doesn't feel good for your back, be mindful of that. Maybe you set your hips down to the floor and you just gently bring that left knee in towards center if the rotation feels like it's just not right for you today. When you're ready, draw yourself back in towards center. And we're going to reach for our band. If you don't have a band, don't worry. Go ahead and extend the leg either way. You can set the leg and maybe set the hands at the base of the low part of the thigh. If you've got a band, I want you to be really kind with yourself here. So try not to strain through the upper body here. As you extend your leg, keeping your sacrum down, toes are going to kind of come towards center, heels going to lift to the sky. Maybe you immediately get that sensation in the back of the legs here. Letting go of any tension. Maybe you just bend and stretch the leg, just with this invitation to lengthen. And just that hinging from the knee can feel so good. That invitation to bend and lengthen. And it could be so gentle. So just see what it feels like. The next time you find your leg lifted, hold it there. And then I'd like you to just turn your ankle round and through your foot. And you're going to give that anterior tibialis a nice little stretch. So the arch of the foot is going to face towards the right side of the room. There's a little sickling of the foot here. And as we remember, we know that everything begins from the ground up. So giving our feet, giving the low part of our legs exactly what they need will just be that catalyst to be able to offer some support to the rest of the body, to the knees, to the thighs, to the low back. Go ahead and bring that left foot back through center and then turn that left foot out the other direction. And that's just going to give the inside of the leg a little stretch. Letting the pinky come towards the outer part of the ankle. Maybe you round through the foot, maybe not. Maybe that simple act of arching the foot up and over is enough. Inhale, come back through center and go ahead and release the left foot. Take the strap, set it to the side, plant the left foot down to the floor, slowly bring the right knee in towards the chest, and just like that accordion, bring it in and bring it out. And then when you're ready, the next time you find your knee lengthening away from the center of your core, take the right hand, set it to the top of the knee, and stir the pot. Just gently working to all the corners. Grounding into that left hip. And perhaps moving in the opposite direction. Maybe there's more, maybe there's less range. And then when you're ready, let's draw the knee back in towards center and let's grab our strap and set it underneath the right foot. Extend the leg up to the sky. Anchor into that that sacrum down, toes towards center, heel to the heart. Heel to the sky, I mean. And I love to just kind of explore the sensations here. So for some, this may be really tight and might be like lengthening out, might just feel like it's too much. So we want to be able to be soft with the body. So maybe bending the knee is that beautiful kind of middle point for the leg. Maybe it's extended. It depends on what feels good for you. But once you start to get to that place, we all feel it at some point, that lengthening position. You can feel the sensation of the muscle. You can feel a little bit of that feel from the sits bones, maybe to the back of the legs. And obviously, the more you go up with those heels and the lower you down with the toes, the more sensation starts to radiate through the back of the leg. From here, we'll begin with our little arching of the foot towards the left side, rounding of the foot, maybe sickling the foot, and then bringing the arch towards the left side, lengthening out the right side of the anterior tibialis or the calf, the shin area. Try to relax through the shoulders as this is happening, giving your ankles even a little stretch here. And then slowly come back towards center. And let's turn it in the opposite direction. Arch of the foot resting towards the right side of the room. Fantastic. Come back through center. Now with that right leg remaining in the strap, let's go ahead and use our core and pull our left leg up to the sky. Both legs reaching up towards the sun. Heels maybe flexing. Maybe there's a bend of the knee. Just kind of exploring what feels best for you. Toes towards center. And then from here, bend the knees, release the strap, and set it off to the side. Opening the feet as wide as the mat, we're going to windshield wiper our knees in and out here. You can even cactus the arms just to allow for a little opening of the chest. And just kind of flow here with your breathing. Allow it to be really soft and gentle. Remember, if there's any points that feel like it's just too much, maybe reduce that windshield wiper. Make it small, make it really gentle and soft and accessible for you. Remembering that the best gift we can give to ourselves is the art of listening to ourselves. I was recently asked, if you were in a difficult situation, how would you go about dealing with it? And I said, I would listen. I would listen because everyone wants to be heard. And often difficult situations are muddled with two parties or maybe more not listening to each other. But truly, the first person that we need to listen to is ourselves. So even conflict within begins by listening and tuning in. As you're ready, you'll come back towards center. Toe heel the feet so that the knees are drawn together. If your arms are cactus, go ahead and extend them out to a strong T. Press into the heel, lift the pelvis over to the left, and turn the knees over to the right. Finding our supine twist. Maybe you support the bottom knee by placing a yoga block underneath it. Maybe you want to play around with extending that top leg. Really explore and listen. And then as you're ready, let's lift that top leg back up and then bottom leg meets the top. Shift our pelvis over to the right and lean over and move those knees over to the left. And then slowly come back through center. From here, let's take our knees into our chest one last time before we're going to make our way right into our Shavasana today. And today, perhaps we come into our Shavasana with our knees knocked together in constructive rest pose, or we come into Shavasana with our knees supported by a bolster. Whatever feels right for you. Go ahead and set your feet, legs in whatever position. Maybe you extend the body long. It is entirely up to you. And I'm just going to guide us through a gentle body scan as we come into our Shavasana here. Maybe you rest one hand on your heart, one hand on your tummy, or maybe your arms are extended out to the side. And as you make your way into a comfortable position, let the shoulders drift down towards the floor. Let your body feel heavy and come back to that sense of grounding. Let us draw our attention to our feet. Noticing the coolness of the air or maybe the heat. Noticing the different aspects of the heel, the arch, the front and back of the foot, the ankle. Maybe you can envision a little tingling that comes into the toes. From here, work your way up to your calf and to your knees, bringing sensation to the front and back of the lower part of the body. Maybe you can even feel a little tingling in the body as we move from the calf up to the knee and the knee down to the calf. Noticing the kneecap and the back of the knee. Then as you're ready, bring your attention up to the upper part of the thigh, feeling that part of the body, maybe noticing the muscles hugging the bones. Maybe noticing if the thighs are touching the earth. Bringing any awareness to the inner and outer sides of the leg. From here, let's bring our attention to our pelvis area. Notice any areas here that you can feel. Maybe there's sensation in the back, maybe sensation in the hip. Bring all your attention to the pelvic region, breathing into that space and releasing that space. Maybe there's a type of current that is starting to emanate from the toes all the way to your belly button and then all the way back down. As you lift your attention to your heart space, notice the front and the back of the chest, the heart space, the shoulder space. Then let's go ahead and notice the throat, the jaw, the front of the face, the back of the head. Notice if you can release any tension in the eyes, the ears, the nose, the chin, the jaw, the tongue, the ears, even all the follicles of the hair that release from the head. Allow them to drip down towards the mat. Moving down the arms. Feeling the fingertips, the front, top of the hand, the bottom of the hand. Maybe noticing the coolness of the temperature resting upon the hands or the arms, or maybe the heat. Maybe you're covered in a blanket and you could feel the sensation of the heat of the blanket resting on your hands. Now let's just do a quick scan from toe to crown, crown to toe. Notice the front and the back of the body. And I want you to imagine your solar plexus space, that space in the center of your abdomen, as radiating a large smile, with the corners of its mouth beaming upwards. Let that sense of happiness and joy kind of permeate through your body. Let us begin to take a deep breath in through the nose and a deep exhale out of the mouth. Let's begin to wiggle our fingers and wiggle our toes, waking the body. And then whenever you're ready, maybe let's roll onto our favorite side. Just take this opportunity to remind yourself that however you're feeling now is not a feeling that you plucked from a shelf or that you were able to buy. This feeling is within you. This is something you have and have always had. So just remind yourself that whenever you need to tap into this space, that it is there for you, ready, willing, and waiting. Perhaps you'd like to stay here a little longer. Perhaps you'd like to bring yourself up to seated. Whatever you choose is fine. With our hands resting at our heart space, let us gently bow down to the hands, again in recognition of how we are all one. May your heart always stay warm. May your smile always stay broad. And may the light that shines in me honor and see the light that shines in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me again today. It's just, as always, just an honor to be with you. If you are resting still, enjoy that rest, please. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I do want to remind you we have an event on November 30th called Fit Giving Tuesday. It's going to be a 60-minute yoga class. All donations that are made to that class are going to be met $1 for $1 from Moxie, and all donations are going to be given to House New to Home, which is a homeless to home initiative that helps individuals leaving homelessness and moving into homes. This organization fills their homes with furniture and all the necessary needs for a beginning of a new life. I would love for you to be part of this event. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope to see you soon. Lots of love. Bye, everyone.